So welcome to my channel. As you know, my name is Edward. My website is edward13.com. I'm going to take these off right now. I'm going to relax into the moment. It's very intense right now in my energy and my spirit. So some of you know I have been working as a professional psychic for about 30 years. It's about 1993 or so, and it really just like started me on this path of self-discovery, of asking questions, of what's out there, and I sort of joke about like what's it all about, Alfie? It's a line from a TV show, probably from before you were born. But let me back up for 1 second. When I started going to a psychic development group, I wasn't planning on doing this for my job. Being psychic is something that runs in my family on both sides, my mother's side, my father's side. So I tell people I come by this naturally. Like I was saying, I wasn't planning on doing this professionally. I started going to the psychic development group randomly with a friend of mine, and to be honest, I didn't really know what to expect. And I didn't really expect things to happen as quickly as they did. I was thinking that I could become psychic and I might be able to know more about my life. So for the most part, pretty selfish intentions. What I didn't know is that for me, anyway, for you, it might be different. But for me, becoming psychic was not about me. It was about being able to help other people. It was about connecting to whatever you want to call us out there. Connecting to, first it was connecting to my guides. And there were a lot that were happening. And I really thought I was going to be going crazy because there was like so many. One wanted me to be doing this, one wanted me to be doing this, one wanted me to be doing that. And there were a lot of like voices in my head. I sat down with them and had conversation, and I said, look, you people have to come together as one energy and speak to me with one voice, because if you don't, I'm going to go crazy. Which I already thought that I was going crazy anyway with this. So that's what happened, is that there became one voice. Every now and then I would get information from another one. There was one guy who was, I'm pretty sure he was a monk, from the days of when they were in their monastery and copying whatever books they were copying, whether they were Bibles or whatever they were doing. And he wore this like kind of weird sort of like hat on his head, sort of like a diamond from here down, whatever, and then sort of a point on it. And I don't know where he was or anything like that. I just know that that's who this guy was. And so he was the one, I got this name Joseph for him. He was the main guy. I talked to him all the time. We had these conversations, whatever. So there was that. And then there was another one that was Native American. And whenever there were symbols or symbology involved, he was the one that would come through and help me define what the symbols were all about. It wasn't very often that other ones would like show up, but there were about 4 or 5. And I practiced psychic development on a regular. I started doing it for my job. I wasn't planning on doing that, like I said, but I was in the right place, right time, whatever, and there we went. But I meditated a lot, and which for me is the key to opening your psychic ability, whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you're trying to become psychically. It's really important to meditate for clarity, to raise your vibration, for lack of a better expression. It's also really important to be grounded, so that you're not just out floating around in space somewhere. I've had people around me who were into becoming more psychic, and they wanted to open doors to other dimensions. I was like, you're crazy. It's not something that you want to just do randomly when you're not even trained psychically or anything like that. So I've had to learn to kind of pick and choose who I am hanging out with and what they are doing. It's been a lesson. Or I just recently heard that we really should not be thinking about things in terms of lessons, because if you think in terms of lessons, then you're going to get more things that you would describe as lessons, which today I know as the law of attraction, which is really where I'm heading with this video. whatever you put out, that's what you're going to be getting back. So if you put out, I'm here to learn lessons, then that's what it is that you're going to get. As opposed to today, I know that I am here in order to create. I'm here to expand my consciousness. I'm here to connect to source energy. I am here to have a good time. I am here to have fun. I'm here to do whatever it is that I want to do. I'm not here to save people. I'm not here to whatever. I have recently learned 2 words, 2 terms. Got a reading with a Vedic astrologer, and he had described me as an alchemist, which I totally agree with that. Earlier today, I was watching a podcast, and this woman, her name is Sarah Landon, I think. She described different paths, one of them being a transformer, which is the same thing the way that she described it. So you can listen to her podcast. She's really interesting. I saw her on a podcast with this guy. One was a One Step Beyond something. I forget. I'm going to look it up and I will put it in the section below. These 2 people, their podcasts connect to them, etc. And it was really because of listening to her that I am doing this video. She opened up something inside of me, or she guided me to open up something inside of me that I didn't really think was possible. So thank you, Sarah, for that. So through all of this, I experienced things along the lines of like being a psychic healer, and then learning Reiki, becoming a Reiki master, and so I've been doing that since 1995, 1996, somewhere around there. I think 1995. So it's always creating, it's always moving forward, it's always asking the question, what's next, what's next? Where am I going, what am I doing, what am I here for? And it's those questions that brought me to these videos, these podcasts, these YouTube videos. I started hearing about The Secret, hearing about the law of attraction. Somebody had sent me a voice clip of Esther Hicks Abraham, and then I forgot about it. And then I was going through my voice clips a while later, and I came across it again. I was like, what is this? It was really interesting, and I sent it back to her. And She's like, I sent that to you. I was like, what is this? She's like, it's Abraham. Esther Hicks channels this entity. The how does she call them? Non-physical. And I started listening to her, to Abraham, and got different audiobooks from them and all of that. And so I started on this law of attraction, and it changed the way that I do readings, because now when I'm doing readings for somebody, I start looking at their desires and what's really going on with them on a deeper level. So that started happening, and that became all very intense. And I had this desire when I was going to the psychic development group. The woman that was leading the psychic development group, she was, or is, I'm assuming she's still alive. I haven't seen her for a long time. She was what you would call a trance channel. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I want to do that. How do I become that? And so the past 30 years, I've been on this journey, this quest. And the people that I see, they always have this very uplifting, very high spiritual kind of message. When I channel for people, that's how I do my readings. I use cards, I read palms, whatever, but spirit always comes through, and because I have trusted myself, I am clairaudient, so I hear spirit, and I'm clairvoyant, so I see spirit, I see images, things. Clairaudience is clear hearing, clairvoyance is clear vision. So it's really about seeing the truth in things. And I will tell you, a lot of people don't really like that, because they really want to see things in their way. And that's fine. It's not always what's really going on. And if I'm not in a reading for somebody, I really just have to let them do whatever it is that they're doing. It's not my job to change their opinion. It's not my job to redirect them. They're doing their life. So trying to stay on track here. I'm trying really hard not to focus on negativity, things like that, right? However, I come from a place of like trauma and growing up, all this stuff, right? And believing in scarcity, believing in I wasn't good enough, believing in my house there, they used to say, you should be seen and not heard, right? It's like all these things that create like limitations. However, along this journey, and really over this past year, and even like a few years before that, kind of coming out of my shell and embracing spirit and spirit's messages and owning my own truth. And you see a lot of movies out there today about people being apologetically themselves, and what is the other buzzword that they're using? I'll think of it after, probably. Oh, to become your authentic self. What does it even mean? It's a whole like buzzword out there and all of that. So I've been becoming my authentic self, becoming unapologetically like myself. And people really want you to be in a box. They want you to be somebody that is comfortable for them. And I used to do that. I can't do it anymore because it's painful, because it is painful for myself. It is limiting who I am. I saw this meme today. You don't have to live in the shadows in order for somebody else to be in the sun. So I'm learning how to be in the sun, which really is about being connected to spirit and allowing spirit to move through me, to allow my own spirit to soar. It's really hard to manifest, to create, to be happy when you are attacking yourself because somebody else does not believe in you. It's really important that even if nobody else believes in you, that you are believing in you, that you believe that you're good enough, that you believe that you are worth it. You know, I was suicidal when I was like 14, right? Like I could have left at that point. Today I'm 61, and this year I'll be 62. And I got to a point where, like, you know what? Like, I'm done trying to kill myself, looking for a way out. And now I'm like, all right, I'm 61, and now what am I going to do? And I choose to have fun. I choose to laugh. I choose to own my weirdness. If you look up in the dictionary definition of weird, it means uncanny or supernatural. And I have identified as a witch. And I think that even that can be a limiting term. Because when you are a witch, and I still do practice that, but when you are a witch, there's still a certain format, there's still a certain type of regime, I guess, to follow when you are creating, when you're manifesting, when you're doing ritual. But since I have been practicing law of attraction, it's a whole different realm. Being connected directly to source, knowing that I am an extension of source energy, knowing that I am a powerful creator. And just so you know, we are all an extension of source energy. We are all powerful creators. You create your own reality. If you're in a bad mood, if you're attacking yourself, then they call that like creating by default. It's like a leaf in the wind. If you want to limit yourself, then that's what you're going to get. I choose to not limit myself anymore. I choose to, beyond the sky is the limit. I used to settle. I am no longer settling. If people try to limit me, I can't be around them. Or I choose not to. I could, but I choose not to. So, I was watching this podcast earlier. I forget what his name is. I didn't even really see his name, but I'm pretty sure the podcast was something about one step beyond or one something. Like I said, I'll put a link in for that. And this woman, Sarah, was on there. And then she was really cool. I really enjoyed listening to that podcast, that interview. She channels this. She calls them the council. Since I started working as a psychic, I realized that there was a whole group. I call them an entourage. There's a whole group. And I started calling them the collective because there's just really like so many. It's like over 1,000 entities out there, and just, I don't know, so much. And I don't know. So, whatever that's all about, right? And it's really intense. Sometimes I can feel them on my head, which is why I'm doing this video. I started watching a podcast. First, I watched the podcast with the guy and Sarah. Then I watched her podcast, and she did this thing about just close your eyes and listen, and 3 deep breaths. Let your consciousness go from your head down into your heart. And I'll tell you, it's not really something that I really wanted to be doing. I have a difficult time being in touch with my emotions, which is really weird because I am an empath, and like I feel what other people feel, and the energies like around me, around the town, like around the planet. It can be really intense some days. Some days it can be difficult going outside, but it's a story for another day. So I wasn't really expecting what was going to happen. I was like, oh, I'm going to go into my heart and I'm going to see all the pain in my life. Completely not what happened, mind you. So I brought my consciousness from my head down into my heart. And she asked the question, she's like, find this place of peace in your heart. I was like, I'm not really sure that that's in there. So I'm in there and I find this place of peace, and this, it was like I left my body. not in the usual way of astral projection, mind you. It was oh my God. So I can't even believe that I'm going to speak this. Because I hear these people that are channeling higher consciousness, and I do channel angels, actually. It can be difficult because the vibration is so high. When I see them, they're extremely bright white light, like blinding white light. And it's the frequency that they transmit on. I don't think that really just anybody is channeling angels. Because I'm not saying that I'm special, mind you. I'm just saying that it can be painful on your ears. That's what I'm saying. And I've been doing this for, like I said, like 30 years. And so it's like, so there's a practice, there's meditation, there's raising your vibration, there's all of this stuff, right? So it takes time. It's like, you know, there's a lot of effort put into that. And so I'm like, oh, like these people, they speak so eloquently, and oh my dears, this, whatever. I'm like, all right, but does that happen like with everyone? So I'm like, I don't know, you know. So I understand that's completely judgmental, okay? Like, I get it. And I am creating space to move beyond that, which is probably why I ended up on Sarah's like podcast, because I go into my heart, I go into this place, I find the peace, I go out and she says, what are you becoming? And when I go out, it's all white. And there are these clouds or fog or whatever. To me, it looks like clouds. And there are angels there. And where are you going? And it felt like I was becoming one with the angels. I was like, really? Like, okay. But there were things beyond. there was definitely like one angel over here, like on the right hand side in these clouds, and then it was like opening up into this other place, and there were other entities, higher vibration entities over there, and she says, what are you, where are you heading, what are you becoming? So it was like I was becoming whole. I was becoming one with these angels, one, so like becoming one with source energy really is what it is, and becoming whole. Kind of freaked me out to tell you the truth. Because when I meditate, I have taken on the practice of meditation the way that Abraham describes it, in terms of listening to one monotonous sound and just focusing on that sound and allowing your vibration to be raised that way, and allowing myself to be in the receiving mode. And Abraham describes it as we are an extension of source energy. So this, like my inner being, my soul, basically is the aspect of source energy, the creator, source energy that creates worlds. So I've come to understand that I am that extension here, but what this says to me, where am I heading, what am I becoming, it says to me that that connection is becoming closer, it's becoming one, it's like completely owning that part of myself. So Sarah was talking about humans. We live in the third dimension, but as we are progressing, we move to, the more you wake up. And I'm not talking about becoming woke. That's a whole other thing. Waking up to like your spiritual self, moving to a fourth dimension. And I think that I have gotten there. The way that she was describing makes it, I don't know, it felt like it resonated with me. But then she was talking about a fifth and sixth dimension. And one of those was like completely giving up, like judgment. And so I think that's what I was looking at, one of these other places, being able to connect with all of that. And spirit, my guides, the collective, sometimes they refer to themselves as Samuel, but even that name, calling them by a name, Esther refers to them as the name that the term that came through with Esther was Abraham. And yeah, I wanted a name. I wanted to be, like this person, I forget who they are. They're channeling Seth. Seth speaks. This person has Abraham. This other one has somebody else. This other one has somebody else. And yeah, I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be, like But what I am aware of is that way is limiting me, because it's still me trying to fit in with another group, with another clique, right? And it is not allowing me to have my own journey, my own experience about my connection with source energy, my connection with the all, my connection with whatever it is that's out there. Because truth be told, I have been in touch with angels. I have been in touch with alien energies. I do believe that some of my guides are alien. I was dog sitting for somebody, and these two people, they were pretty psychic people, and I had never really met them before. It was like by word of mouth that I was over there and watching this dog, and the guy was like, "You're a Nocturian." I was like, I don't even know what that means. But they're aliens, and they come from a place that they're healers that are on this. They come here, what do you call them, like star children, crystal children. I used to work with this woman, and she's like, "You're an alien." I was like, "What the fuck does that even mean?" Excuse my French, but she's like, "New on the planet." I'm like, I don't know if this is my first time on this planet, or maybe second or third, relatively new, whatever. But I do know that I do past life readings as well. And when I go looking for my past lives, it's not on this planet. So I may have been here in an energy form, sort of exploring before having a physical body here, but I don't really think that I've had a physical body here. So that's interesting. In 1996, I was going through this phase, sort of difficult. It's like, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home. I was in a place, what psychiatrists would call suicidal ideation. I didn't think of it as that. I was like, I don't want to be in this room, I want to go in that room, you know. And I got to this place, I'm like, why am I saying I want to go home? Because I don't want to go to my mother's house. So I didn't know what that was. And I do paint, I'm an artist, and I was getting into it at the beginning, and so I started doing this thing, and I started painting, and I just see colors, and I start showing up to the canvas is the way that I describe it, and I just start putting paint on, and it becomes a whole other thing, and I'm never really sure what's going to come out. And I started painting it, and it became like, so if this is the canvas, right, it was like the planet Earth here, and then it was out in space, and then there was this like triangle, and I'm not sure what the triangle was about, but it felt like it was a place where I would be living, or a place to get home, whatever that was, I don't know, but I just know that home was not here on this planet. It was like out there somewhere. So that was a revelation. So this video is going to be, I already have other videos out there. But I feel like this video is explaining a beginning or another stage it represents me trusting the process. It represents me trusting my guides or the collective, my higher self. It's about trusting that journey to get to where am I going. I was thinking that I was going to go into a deeper channeling session, but it's already probably 1:30 in the morning or something. So I think that I will do that later. So stay tuned. I think it's important to say just practice being good to you, okay? I'll say this, that there is this thing about it gets better, kids coming out as being gay and being suicidal, and that could probably be why I was like suicidal at the age of 14, but it was a whole lot more than that. Right? But there was a spirit inside of me that was like, we're not ready to go yet. We're just not ready. So I ended up staying and found different ways of escaping. And then the escape stopped working. And then when the escape stopped working, this whole thing started happening. So 30 years later, here we are. You know what they say, and the journey continues. So live your own life. Follow your own path. Trust in who you are. If you're on this path towards enlightenment or whatever, I did study like Buddhism, different things, Native American things, Sweat Lodge, the Vision Quests. I've done a lot of different things looking for answers, right? But they say that it is an inside job. So you can do all of this seeking out in the world. However, I believe that if you I do think that it's important to explore, right? To find I've had to explore different places in order to put words to what was happening inside of me, because I didn't know how to explain it to people, and I felt like if I were going to explain it to people, they would think that I was crazy. And I already felt that way, so I wasn't really about setting myself up for any of that. And part of it was looking for community. And, you know, I didn't really feel comfortable with straight people. I didn't really feel comfortable with gay people. I didn't feel comfortable with witches. I didn't feel comfortable with Buddhists. I didn't feel comfortable wherever I was. And I think that's really because I have been in this constant state of flux, always growing, always changing, and really having to get to the place of understanding that all of these cliques, all these communities, they're very limiting. They have their own ideas about how things are, and that's fine. I just feel like my journey is bigger than one community. So I feel like when I'm connected to spirit, I can speak to, because it's not really me speaking, it's spirit speaking. But when I'm doing readings and when I'm like channeling, I am, or spirit is speaking to the person's soul, speaking to that person's spirit. And that person's spirit is not about being a witch. It's not about being a Buddhist. It's not about being Catholic or Christian or whatever. It's more. And I feel like my path is about helping people to transform, to be an alchemist, to transform their life into something more, to open them up, to help them create, because that's what we're here on this planet for. So, yeah. So good luck on your journey. Stay safe and be well. Thank you for watching.